From throughout the region, this is Fox News at 9 in HD.
Now at 9, after down years, are sugar beet farmers hopeful about this year's harvest?
I'm Fox reporter Erin Lish. Coming up, we go to a rural area outside of Detroit Lakes where one woman apparently went missing on Sunday.
A health scare for West Fargo's mayor, but he says he'll beat it.
I'm Fox reporter Eric Crouch, and I'll have local reaction from both sides of the gay marriage debate after Monday's decision by the U.S. Supreme Court not to take up some gay marriage cases. That's coming up on Fox.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. One day after the Supreme Court refused to hear appeals from states on gay marriage bans, a federal appeals court has struck down bans in Idaho and Nevada.
Marriage equality advocates hope the same thing happens in North Dakota. But as Fox reporter Eric Crouch shows us, the gay marriage debate is still alive and well in the state.
David Hamilton and Bernie Erickson have grown sons and are married to one another, though the state of North Dakota doesn't recognize it.
We're kind of the gay Brady Bunch.
But a recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to let lower court rulings stand that overturn bans on same-sex marriage means making their nuptials legal in Fargo could be imminent for Hamilton and Erickson.
Yesterday's action with the Supreme Court is certainly encouraging.
The couple is one of 7 challenging a ban on gay marriage enacted by North Dakota in 2004.
All we've been asking for from the very beginning is the exact same rights that everybody else has.
But Tom Fryer of the North Dakota Family Alliance says that those rights are already guaranteed to gay couples, and he wants the ban to stay.
There is just very little that cannot be done, even today, without recognition of same-sex marriage here in North Dakota.
A federal judge will rule from this courthouse any day on whether North Dakota's same-sex marriage ban is constitutional or not, and both sides say they're looking forward to the decision.
We try not to think about it too much because the legal process is such a long, drawn-out process.
Initially, we'd hoped that the judge would come down and siding with the people of North Dakota, and really the legislators and everyone else who has really put their stamp of approval on marriage between one man and one woman.
And so a Fargo couple remains in legal limbo as the fight to define marriage rages on across the United States. Eric Crouch, Fox News.
The judge in the case against North Dakota's same-sex ban received the final brief in the case last month.
Grand Forks police identified 2 suspects accused of robbing 3 businesses with a pipe, and one's already in jail. 22-year-old Ronald Davis, Jr. of Grand Forks was arrested last night on a separate drug charge. Police are still waiting for formal charges to arrest 22-year-old Tiffany Lewis, also of Grand Forks. The 2 are accused of holding up Happy Host Motel, a condo lodge, and an M&H on Saturday with a lead pipe or tire iron. Police say tips from the public and other physical evidence helped in the investigation.
A Fargo man is arrested after jumping into the Red River to try and get away from police. They say 26-year-old Rory Utvik apparently had second thoughts and came back to shore. He was wet, cold, muddy, and under arrest for fleeing and selling drug paraphernalia. Police had stopped Utvik early this morning to check out his car at the Convent Landing on 52nd Avenue South when he took off and jumped into the river.
A major drug bust in oil country. 2 men are behind bars on $2 million bond each after authorities confiscated over $300,000 worth of narcotics. They say 39-year-old Pablo Lopez Villapando and 42-year-old Porfirio Ruiz sold meth, heroin, cocaine, and marijuana to a confidential informant. A raid of their Williston hotel room uncovered those drugs and a pistol. Well, it was another windy day across the region.
Meteorologist Rob Kupek is in the Fox Weather Center, and we'll be looking at a little bit quieter day tomorrow, Rob.
Yeah, I think so. You'll probably still notice the wind, but it will not be as strong as it has been the last 2 days. The wind outside falling back now 5 to 15. It did this last night, and where the wind is fairly light and there are some holes in the clouds, it's gotten a little chilly out there. Matter of fact, Grand Forks, Grafton, 39, Thief River Falls, 39, War Road, Badette. You really weren't much warmer than that up there. It was 37. You're still under a pretty good cloud cover outside. This is from the tower cam. We are looking live at the full moon, which at the moment is obscured by some clouds, but I'm hopeful that those clouds will part by the morning because we are looking at a total lunar eclipse tomorrow morning starting at 5:25 to 6:25 a.m. You've got an hour. We are talking also about a warmer weekend, and it is Tuesday. We will be back with our Tuesday Town of the Week in a few minutes.
The moon was big and impressive earlier. Too bad the clouds rolled in there. Well, it is day 2 of the search for a woman who went missing in rural Detroit Lakes.
An air search was conducted for 42-year-old Melissa Eagleshield, who went missing Sunday. Fox's Aaron Lish reports on the extensive search.
On Sunday night at 8 p.m., authorities were called by Melissa Eagleshield's cousin, saying she was missing. She was last seen 16 miles outside of Detroit Lakes near a wooded area near Island Lake.
There's several miles of wooded areas, lowlands, small lakes, beaver ponds. It's pretty thick cover.
I've lived here for 75 years, I guess, so I know the country pretty well, but it's pretty rugged country back in there.
Not only is the area dangerous with temperatures below freezing, it's also the animals lurking in the deep woods.
There's timber wolves back in there, and there's bears and coyotes. It's a big area, probably 2 or 3 square miles in there.
Law enforcement continues to search in the rural area by foot and by air. They also have canines to help search for the woman's scent.
We had a track leading to an area which would be roughly west of here, west or a little southwest, and it came up to a beaver pond type area, and that's the last place the tracking dog had any scent. Well, you know, we have to keep all of our options. We can't assume anything. We still have to act like, you know, it's a rescue mission.
Authorities still do not know why she was in this area or what happened to her. In rural Detroit Lakes, Aaron Lish, Fox News.
Anyone with information about Eagleshield's whereabouts can contact the Becker County Sheriff's Office.
There is a new victim in identity theft every 3 seconds in the United States. Identity theft can result in stolen money, ruined credit, and hacked computers. To help combat this crime, Governor Jack Dalrymple has proclaimed October 5th through the 11th as Protect Your Identity Week. With recent breaches at Target and Hornbacher's, there are ways to track your accounts and stay safe from ID thieves.
The 2 most critical things you can do is get yourself a shredder and check your own individual credit record on those free sites, because then at least you can find out as swiftly as possible that you've been a victim.
You can stop by the Village Family Service Center in Fargo tomorrow and Thursday to shred any personal financial records for free. It'll help protect you from this serious crime.
People in Devil's Lake say no to a sales tax increase. A special election was held today to ask voters if they support a half-cent sales tax increase for a proposed $23.5 million convention center and community wellness facility. The vote was 45% for the plan and 55% against it. 4 North Dakota cities are hosting People's Law School. State Bar Association of North Dakota is holding classes every Tuesday night for 5 weeks in Fargo, Bismarck, Devil's Lake, and Williston. Each 2-hour session covers a variety of topics such as family law, human rights, housing discrimination, and domestic violence. The classes are free to the public.
I think it's always important for people of the public to be informed on interesting areas of the law, and it's nice to have this community outreach. So if there are people who are interested, they don't have to pay a lot of money to go to a seminar.
If you'd like to register for a People's Law School session, we've posted a link at our website, KVRR.com.
North Dakota Senator Heidi Heitkamp speaks to state health officials about the importance of rural health care providers. She was a guest speaker at the North Dakota Hospital Association's annual convention. She emphasized the need for families across the state to have access to quality health care. Heitkamp herself grew up in a town of just 90 people.
Providing health care is a big part of what we do in North Dakota, and there's some unique challenges, whether it's the big hospitals, growth in accounts receivable, trying to accommodate what's happening in terms of growth of North Dakota, and then some of the critical access hospitals that haven't been affected by the boom.
Heitkamp says 4 of 10 North Dakotans live in rural areas, and it is one of her top priorities in the Senate. West Fargo's mayor opens up about his fight with cancer.
How his treatments are going and his plans for the future. Still ahead on Fox.
I'm Taylor Mitchell, and coming up, it's sugar beet harvest time. Find out how farmers are dealing with this year's crop.
321-1234.
You are watching Fox News at 9 in HD with TJ Nelson, Candace Thornburg, Chief Meteorologist Rob Kupek, and Sports Director Jim Nelson.
In just months, West Fargo's mayor will find out if he's won his battle with prostate cancer for good.
Rich Mattern says even though the bad news came as a surprise, he hopes his journey will help others. Fox's Hiba Summit sat down with the mayor and joins us live now. Hiba?
TJ and Candace, it was just days before Christmas last year when Mayor Mattern found out he had prostate cancer. But now with radiation therapy done, Mattern is going strong.
She's the one I'd have to call in the morning to tell her that I was going to be in late.
It's not uncommon to find Mayor Rich Mattern bringing smiles to his colleagues' faces, even at times when life threw some bumps in the road.
From mid-June to about mid-August weren't the most pleasant days of my life. I mean, it was kind of a struggle. I was tired a lot and up at night a lot.
After getting a routine physical, doctors found out Mattern had prostate cancer.
But when you hear the word cancer, you know, I think you kind of think, well, am I going to die tomorrow or the day after?
But he fought, choosing radiation for treatment. He continued to work hard as an NDSU information specialist and mayor, only missing one city meeting and winning re-election.
I did incredibly well. I don't know if I could have done that well.
The thought crossed my mind about not running again, but, you know, doggone it. Just because somebody says you have cancer doesn't mean life goes on. And I think, you know, depending on the circumstances, for me, there wasn't a doubt that I could do it.
It's this positivity that has gotten Mattern through the tough times.
I can beat this, and I'm going to beat it.
Within a year, Mattern plans to retire from NDSU and put more time in as mayor. He hopes his story serves as inspiration for people to get checked out. Fargo Mayor Dennis Wallaker is also recovering from kidney cancer. Reporting live, Hiba Samad, Fox News.
All right, thank you, Hiba. Well, Mayor Mattern says he agrees with the City Commission's decision to delay an opioid addiction center in the city. The commission passed a one-year moratorium on construction of the center. This comes after Premier Care moved forward with renting a spot in the strip mall in the 1600 block of Main Avenue without letting the city know, which is required. Mattern says there are too many unanswered questions.
Good to hear he's doing well. A big payoff at a fundraiser to build a center for kids with Down syndrome. The Buddy Walk this weekend at Shields Arena in Fargo raised over $115,000. The money goes toward construction of Gigi's Playhouse, a Down Syndrome Achievement Center in Fargo. It's designed to enhance things like literacy, math, social and motor skills, and speech. The center is expected to open next spring.
Not even Halloween, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. A crew at West Acres Mall in Fargo started putting up a 35-foot tall Christmas tree. Mall officials say they're getting a head start before the winter hits. The Christmas tree is expected to be lit for the first time on November 23rd during the holiday kickoff event called It's a Wonderful Night. Too soon, right?
It's going to start in July before you know it. Yeah.
Well, realtors beef up business with a chili cook-off.
How much money a local realty company cooked up for the United Way. Up next in Business News on Fox.
And last week we were talking about a little bit of snow, which seemed very Christmas-like. This week our weather is fairly dry, a little on the cool side, but warmer weather coming for the weekend. Weather Authority forecast when I come back. Good evening, thanks for being with us. I think we are all about ready to say goodbye to this area of low pressure. Really, it's the same low pressure that brought all the wind we had last Friday. It's just kind of winging itself around in Canada. Tomorrow it will shove a little bit further to the east, and the wind will be a little bit lighter tomorrow. And we should also get into a fair amount of sunshine. Now, there is another little system out here to the west that may spread some clouds in our direction. Hopefully, they will hold off till after sunrise for their arrival, because we can see the lunar eclipse first thing in the morning. We do have a couple little isolated showers dropping through northeastern North Dakota and a few up in northern Minnesota. These will eventually move away. There may still be a few more in Minnesota and even northern Minnesota tomorrow. You could not maybe rule out a shower. I think the chance is much smaller than it was today. We did get, with these clouds passing through overhead, a pretty nice, right there, nice little sunset tonight. And then the clouds darken up as the lights of the city of Fargo and West Fargo coming on. Futurecast missing those little showers there, but it's got about the edge of those clouds, right? And it shows those clouds retreating away. And I'm hopeful that by morning, most of us, at least Red River Valley into Lakes Country, will see some sunshine. I can't guarantee that for northern Minnesota, that's for sure, for tomorrow. And then there may be a patch of clouds working in through the day. But all in all, it is looking like another fairly quiet day tomorrow. The banana shared by a lot of people. Fargo, Gwinner, Wahpeton, Wishick, all at 59 degrees. That's the warmest on the map. So close to 60 today. 54 in Detroit Lakes, 55 in Grand Forks. But War Road was just 43. Badette was 44. You should be a little bit warmer tomorrow and see a little bit more sunshine. Temperatures falling back right now. They'll be kind of bouncy tonight depending on the cloud cover and where the wind gets light and picks up a little bit. They did that last night too. 49 right now in Fargo, 39 in Grand Forks and Grafton. War Road, Badette, also still the cool spots on the map at 37. And the dew points are fairly low. The air is relatively dry out there. At one point, I saw some dew points down in the teens this afternoon. So good little static electricity. And also drier air lets the temperature drop off pretty quick at night. 59 the high today, 41 the low. No rain in Fargo, 55, 32. No rain in Grand Forks either. Overnight tonight, we'll drop generally into the 20s, 30s up north, maybe 30 Grand Forks, 35 in Fargo, 31 in Fergus Falls. A west wind at about 5 to 15. And for tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy. A northwest wind at 10 to 20. High temperatures tomorrow, still in the 40s up in northern Minnesota. And the rest of us should squeak 50s tomorrow. 57 Fargo, 53 Grand Forks, 55 in Oak. So maybe southern areas, maybe just a couple of degrees cooler. Up to the north, it will be a little bit warmer. But it will come tomorrow with less wind. That will be the good news. Not so windy. It's hiding there behind me. 55 on Thursday, 54 on Friday, keeping the mostly sunny sky going. Into the weekend, it looks like some clouds will work in Saturday. There may be a shower Saturday night. It will be rather breezy on Saturday. Wind out of the south. That'll push us into the mid-60s. Mid-60s again on Sunday. Maybe a morning shower and then a clearing sky. And then we'll be close to 60, it looks like, for next week. So the cool looks like we're done. Looks like we got a nice stretch of mild weather coming up.
And not as windy tomorrow.
Not as windy. Still be a bit of a breeze. It won't be like perfect. I think by the time we get to Thursday, it will be a lot
Maybe we'll
less
keep
windy.
my car on the road then, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
Just slow it down.
Know. It's a day to day.
Just slow it down. Put the coffee down. Put hands on the wheel. There you go. Okay.
Thanks, Rob. Roars Keller Williams Realty puts on its 5th annual Chili Feed fundraiser in Fargo.
The event helped the company bring in total contributions for the year of over $30,000, beating last year's take by about $9,000. Proceeds will benefit the United Way of Cast Clay. More than 600 guests chipped in and had a chance to try dozens of different chilies from the area. Best chefs brought home awards voted on by judges and all those taste testers.
It started out as a small event with just a few people bringing crock pots of chili, and it's turned into this in 5 years. So we've kind of got it down to a science now.
And all of that leftover chili was donated to Churches United for the Homeless.
Grand Forks beats Fargo. The city was just named Google's E-City of North Dakota. Senator Heidi Heitkamp and a representative from Google presented the award to Grand Forks. Google recognizes one in each state with the strongest online small business community. Fargo won the award last year, the first year the award was presented.
Tonight's business news is brought to you by hurry in and get a great deal during the Jeep Summer Clearance Event.
Germs are everywhere. How to protect ourselves and the people around us later in Fox Health News.
But first, a young girl thinks she brought candy to her daycare, why her mom is now arrested.
A 4-year-old in Delaware brings more than 200 bags of heroin to daycare and began giving it out to other kids.
According to state police, the little girl thought it was candy and gave the bags to her classmates. The kid's mother, 32-year-old Ashley Toll, is charged with maintaining a drug property and 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. She was arraigned and released on $6,000 bond.
An SUV slams into a Minneapolis bus shelter, killing a woman who was sitting there. It happened last night. The victim's son says his mother was waiting at the bus stop for him to pick her up. That's when a driver came plowing into the bus shelter, crushing his mother. The driver apparently backed out of a parking lot, accelerated, hit a parked car, careened off a tree, then slammed into the bus stop. Minneapolis police say drug and alcohol tests do not appear to be factors at all. 2 people inside the SUV have been detained.
The remains of Hurricane Simon bring rain to the southwest, and strong storms are moving across Kentucky, Rob.
Yeah, lots of report of wind and hail from Kentucky area here. You can see the green dots, that's hail. The blue dots on the map, those are wind damage, and there's a whole bunch moving across Kentucky. That's where most of the storm reports were across the nation that came in today. The reason? The jet stream, which is taking a little loop over us, and then it's right down over Kentucky. It adds a little extra lift. Lots of nice weather out in the west. We can get this jet to move a little bit to the north. We'll be sitting pretty, and it looks like what it's going to do. 105 Death Valley, again, the warmest in the country. 98 in Dallas, 77 today in Denver, 75 in the nation's capital, 73 in Boston. Not a bad spring day on the East Coast. Coolest air? Well, we've got it right here in Fargo, where it was 59 degrees. Also, yesterday, there were a couple of storms last night down in Georgia. Matter of fact, a tornado touched down in Ringgold, Georgia. This is some of the damage that it did. The Weather Service rating this tornado an EF1. And the storm season, there is a little secondary storm season down in the south, which happens kind of into October and November. So it's not completely uncommon to see these storms down there this time of year. When we come back, we will take a look at our town of the week. The battle was on. Speaking of tornadoes, between 2 that had some around here, Gary and Walcott. Have the winner for you back in a few minutes.
Okay, see you then. Thank you. Well, can't get enough coffee? Why, you can blame your parents for that. It's coming up next in Health News.
A key member of the Bison defense is set to return to the lineup, plus a new state champion in Class A girls golf. We've got the highlights coming up in sports.
Mic check! Mic check!
Wow. Wow. She's so excited.
It's the beginning of the cold and flu season, and if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, you might want to consider getting it after seeing where germs lurk in the workplace.
Gives you the heebie-jeebies. Jerry Willis shows us where the germs are.
Each of us has an average of 500 species of bacteria living inside us at one time. That's enough to fill a half-gallon jug. Most of them are not harmful, but the ones that are often get passed from one human to the other by touch. And often we're not talking about human-to-human touch, but you touching a surface that someone else touched, then touching your face. To find out just how dirty things are around us, we got in touch with a scientist at Kimberly-Clark.
So the door handles in the bathrooms tend to be kind of dirty.
They're the ones that not only make Kleenex and toilet paper, but also make industrial sanitizers. They brought along a device that measures the amount of contamination left behind on a surface.
ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's a molecule that is present in all living organisms, bacteria, yeast, mold, and animal and vegetable materials. The presence of ATP on a surface indicates a significant level of contamination that probably needs to be addressed.
Anything under 100 is considered relatively clean. Above 300, clean it immediately. We went down into the subway, made a stop at an ATM, went up an escalator, swabbed the buttons on an elevator, all to find out where the critters are camping out.
The microwave, that can't be clean.
No, that's the challenge we have. The bathrooms get a lot of attention because they're used frequently and people are kind of really like to have their clean bathroom. But the break room and these microwaves don't tend to get very much focus during the day.
The two dirtiest places we discovered? A keyboard that a lot of different people use.
That's worse than your phone.
And our photographer's cell phone.
Where did you put that phone?
I think we need to give you some sanitizer too.
Dr. Earhart says she's not terribly surprised by the results because she says, let's put this delicately, people tend to use their phones in places that they perhaps shouldn't and then don't clean them.
The testing will start right after the show.
Yeah.
Well, people who drink a lot of coffee may do so because it's in their genes.
That's right. Researchers reviewed 28 previous studies on the genetic makeup of more than 120,000 coffee drinkers. They were able to link 6 genes to a person's coffee consumption. And all of those genes are related to the body's response to caffeine. The team says these genes could help explain why some people enjoy coffee more than others. Well, college students appear to really like spending time on their cell phones.
Like we needed a study for this. Baylor University researchers found nearly 60% admitted they may have a cell phone addiction. Females spend an average of 10 hours a day on the phone. Male students averaged about 8. Researchers say excessive cell phone use may pose risks because some may use it as an escape, while others may use it in the classroom to cheat. Well, this is a busy fall for sugar beet harvesters. What area farmers are saying the reason is for the season's success, straight ahead.
And later on Fox, an NBA team helps make the day of a young boy battling cancer. Roads in the valley are packed with trucks hauling this year's sugar beet harvest.
Farmers began harvesting their crop at the beginning of October. Fox reporter Taylor Mitchell tells us how the season's harvest may be the best in years.
For sugar beet farmer Dustin McDonald, October is one of the biggest months of the year.
I enjoy it. It's kind of like our Super Bowl for the season.
And it may be a game that they're winning.
Actually, this is probably the best season I've seen in all 3 years. We have gone 7 days straight now.
McDonald has been working on his family's farm with his father for nearly his whole life. He says this year's sugar beet crop is better than average.
It's been really good. The weather has been perfect for harvesting beets.
The weather can't be too hot or too cold, so farmers have about 14 to 20 days to harvest their sugar beets.
It gets quite busy. I kind of wish I wouldn't do 12-hour shifts when I'm doing class, because it's usually 2 in the afternoon to 2 in the morning in the beet truck, then wake up at 8 a.m. for class.
Truckers can sit and wait at the pre-piles anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half to unload their beets. They could even use more truckers.
There is a shortage this year of drivers, and for a lot of guys it's been pretty difficult to fill those positions.
But even those hardships can't overshadow why he loves doing this.
It's nice to be part of a family farm.
Mixing family and work can make a great harvest even better. Taylor Mitchell, Fox News.
And with this better than average season, some farmers say they may be done with the harvest by the end of the week. They're usually done by the end of October.
Farmers and landowners learn all about the changes they'll be facing with the new Farm Bill. North Dakota Farm Service Agency and the NDSU Extension Service held an informational meeting in Grand Forks. For the first time in almost 30 years, farmers will have a chance to recalculate their base acres. They can also choose between 2 safety net programs. Along with crop insurance, they'll have protection in case prices or yields collapse.
You know, your land is an asset in your farming operation, so you want to have the best government yields and bases for that land.
If producers do not choose a program, they will automatically be locked into one for 5 years.
Another border battle for our Tuesday Town of the Week. Last week it was the North Dakota town. So, Rob, what about this week?
This week the winner's flipping back over to the Minnesota side. Gary had the lead last night. They maintained it, actually expand on it. About 2-1 breaking for Gary. 68% of the vote for Gary, 32% of the vote for Walcott. So where, you say, is Gary? Why, it is in Norman County, Minnesota, just up here to the northeast of Fargo, north of Twin Valley, right along State Highway 32 between Twin Valley and the Fertile area. That is where you will find Gary. Home of the Bulldogs. Really no more home of the Bulldogs. That was their old mascot, but that is what Gary, and thanks to Whitney Roski for nominating Gary for Town of the Week. Gary, this is downtown Gary here by the bank. Founded in 1883. It is named for Garrett Thorpe. That there is Garrett Thorpe. He was a merchant from Manchester, Iowa, one of the first merchants in town. Population 214. It peaked at 333 in 1920. And that is somewhat interesting, and I will explain why. Here is downtown Gary in 1916. This is a great photo. 1 year before basically, well, the entire town burned down in 1917. That's why it was interesting that the population peak was 3 years after huge fire in Gary, basically wiping out much of the town. They rebuilt, though, very quickly, and you can see that population peaked. Here's 1955, a big, nice parade going down Main Street in Gary, Minnesota. And then 1978 comes, July 5th, specifically about 3-4 in the morning. A huge tornado rolls through Gary. This is some video footage of the damage from it the day afterward. So fire 1917, tornado 1978, but still going strong. And if you live in Gary, why, you were an Eagle for Norman County East, and now you are the Titans because you share some sports with Ewell and Hitterdall. Lunch tomorrow, one of my favorites, might be worth the ride to Gary. Cheese breadsticks tomorrow in Gary. So Gary, Town of the Week, looking for 32 in the morning there, 30 in Grand Forks, 35 in Fargo. West wind about 5 to 15 overnight, mostly clear and cool. Again, the temperature will probably do a little bouncing as it has been doing the last couple of nights. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow. West wind at about 10 to 20, looking for high temperatures still up in the 40s in northern Minnesota. The rest of us sneaking into the 50s, low 50s in Gary, 52, 53 in Grand Forks, 57 in Fargo. Northwest wind, you'll notice it, but not quite as strong. And for those beet harvesters, boy, the weather does look like it will cooperate. Really no chance of rain other than an odd sprinkle maybe here or there until Saturday night, and even that does not look that impressive. So fairly dry, and even by the weekend, it looks like above average temperatures. So Gary will be on the weather map for the upcoming week.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Rob. A Michigan officer's good deed does not go unnoticed. Ahead on The Buzz.
A gnome on the roam, a good Samaritan cop,
and an actor in hot water. Those stories creating some buzz. A garden gnome in Colorado is seeing the world and making his owners very jealous.
Well, someone has been stealing the gnome and taking him on adventures around the world.
Well, we came out one morning and my gnome was gone, and there was a little thing on there that said it was gone on vacation. It says, oh yeah, I'm out of here. We didn't know what really happened to him.
Paul called me at work and I was like ready to call the police. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I've heard of this where basically people steal things like a cute little gnome, take it on vacation, take pictures. This is the picture where they took it at the airport
and bring him back.
Bring it back. And he was gone for about a week and a half. And at that point I was like, when do I call the police? I don't know, because what if they don't bring him back? It's Bronco season, you know?
Yeah. Then he appeared. Yeah, and then he came back, and then we had pictures, doing his sit-ups, relaxing.
His private balcony. Oh, at the Mayan ruins.
We never gone there, so he's been there and we haven't. We're wondering who did it. We still don't know who took the gnome. Yeah. So we're trying to find out who took the gnome, because we want to go next year. They can kidnap all three of us, because we want to go.
Just in time for Bronco season.
Wow, I'd be mad too. My gnome goes and I get to go?
Yeah, I'd be kind of jealous.
That's sad.
Well, in other news, the actor Stephen Collins, best known for playing a Christian pastor and father on the family drama Seventh Heaven, is under investigation for child molestation.
This story is lighting up social media. The New York Police Department confirms that Manhattan Special Victims Unit is conducting a criminal investigation into Collins' alleged sexual contact with at least 3 underage girls in New York several decades ago.
The allegations stemming from a tape recording obtained by TMZ of Collins confessing to the acts during a therapy session in California with his estranged wife, Faye Grant, in 2012. Police say the victims were all between 11 and 13 years old at the time.
Let's move on to something a little bit more inspiring. A Michigan police officer is getting attention for a traffic stop that led to an act of compassion.
This is very nice. Last Friday, Officer Ben Hall responded to a call of a child riding in a vehicle without a car seat. When he approached the female driver, she admitted she was wrong and had fallen on hard times.
Well, instead of ticketing her, Hall told her to meet him at a nearby Walmart so he could buy her a booster seat.
A ticket doesn't solve the situation. What solves it is the child being in a booster seat like she should be. Is the easiest $50 I ever spent.
Now, the woman also says she plans to pay it forward when she gets back on her feet. There is an officer going above and beyond right there.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Well, we invite you to interact with us on these stories or any story ideas you might have. You can tweet us or post a message on our Facebook page.
You can also send us a good old-fashioned email on our website at kvrr.com.
A state golf champion is crowned in Jamestown. That's up next on Fox Sports.
Check one, check two, check three, check 9. Good evening. In its short history, Davies has won 2 girls golf team titles, but had never claimed the top individual prize. Jennifer Marsh was the day 1 leader at the state golf championship and the favorite to claim medalist honors after today's second and final round. Marsh with a 7-stroke lead on the competition. More on her momentarily. We start with the EDC Senior Golfer of the Year, Savannah Hazelhorst of Wahpeton. Birdie putt on 3. Second best round of the day at 3 over. She finished 4th. North's Abby Sklebar, par putt on 5. She shot a 90, finishes 6th for the championship. Here's Jamestown's Sierra Benyon. Second shot on the par 5 6th. She knocks it on the green, nearly sinks the eagle putt before tapping in for birdie. She finished 2nd, and that was big for the Blue Jays as a team who also finished 2nd. But the medalist, no surprise, Jennifer Marsh, the state champion, +2 on the day, +3 overall. Take a look at first the team standings. These are final. Bismarck, the team champ. It is the first ever state team championship for the Demons. Jamestown, Wahpeton, Davies, and Red River all in the top 7. Individually, again, Jennifer Marsh at +3, the state champion. Sierra Benyon of Jamestown finishes 2nd. Hazelhorst in the top 5, so too make that top 6 for Abby Sklebar of North. You see a couple other local golfers in the mix. High school volleyball, Cheyenne hosting West Fargo. Big crowd on hand to watch the battle of West Fargo. Cheyenne out in front early. Jasmine Brewer with the kill. Now, one bright spot for West Fargo. Izzy Waite is high above the net for the block, but it was all Cheyenne tonight. Bailey Hoffner coming up with the kill here. 3-0 the final. At South High School, the Bruins and Ole Miss commit Emily Strout hosting the Spuds of Moorhead. Quick start for the Bruins. Strout with the kill. Bruins win set 1. Now, a nice dig coming up by Ellen Ost, but it's right into the hand of Brooke Tonsfeld, who hammers home the kill for the Spuds. And here comes Moorhead. Jessica LaFlamme, the kill. Moorhead beats Fargo South 3-1. The top 2 teams in the EDC pick up wins tonight as well. Both sweeps, Shanley over Central and Davies over Wahpeton. West Fargo wrestler Weston Dobler has verbally committed to Oregon State. Dobler won the state championship at 145 pounds as a sophomore. He's been instrumental in helping the Packers to multiple team championships over the last few years. Bison defensive end Mike Hardy will return to action this weekend after missing the last 4 games with a hamstring injury. It's a little tough to see in the video, but Hardy was injured at Iowa State. His left leg kind of outstretched away from his body. Now, he has been staying in shape, but just couldn't get on the field to play. Now, Chris Kleiman said he wasn't positive if Hardy would be able to go on defense, but Hardy said today he's ready.
You know, I almost tried to play last week, but it just wasn't quite there, and we thought giving it 1 more week of rest would be good, and it was. And yesterday at practice felt great. Today it's not too sore. I feel like I'm ready to go. It sucks not being out there. You know, you obviously want to be out there. I've been training with these guys all year. You know, I want to be out there, and yeah, it's just frustrating having to watch.
The Bison host Southern Illinois on Saturday. It'll be homecoming for the Herd. Also homecoming in Grand Forks as UND hosts Portland State. The offense has been better for UND, but the Green and White are still struggling to build leads. Now, after last week's emotional roller coaster against Montana, UND's looking forward to moving ahead.
We got to challenge our guys. We talked about it already, to get over a tough loss and look forward, because every game's going to be tough for us.
I think it would help our team as a whole if we played all 4 quarters and not just a half of football, and to limit the turnovers by being disciplined.
The Twins will interview Oakland A's bench coach Chip Hale for their managerial position. Hale spent some time playing for the Twins in the mid-90s. He joins Red Sox bench coach Torey Lovullo as the current external candidates. The Twins have already interviewed internal candidates Paul Molitor, who was on the staff last season, and Twins minor league managers Doug Minkiewicz and Gene Glynn. Now, in addition to Hale and Lovullo, the Twins will reportedly interview Orioles bench coach John Russell, formerly the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. National League Division Series tonight, Dodgers at Cardinals. St. Louis up, make that LA up 2-0 on St. Louis when Matt Adams of St. Louis drills the 3-run homer. He got about 3 inches off the ground in celebration, but it all counts the same because St. Louis punches its ticket to the LCS. And the Giants lead the Nationals 2-1 that game in the 5th.
Got to be able to jump a little higher, right?
Yeah, you know what?
3 inches, huh? Wow.
He's so excited that he needs to get higher.
Okay.
Keep your feet on the ground. The Utah Jazz welcomes a new player who is much smaller than his teammates.
And we check out Rob's forecast next.
The Utah Jazz make a 5-year-old's dream come true.
JP Gibson is the newest member of the Utah Jazz team for the day.
The NBA team signed JP Gibson to a one-day contract. The young boy was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia when he was just 2.5 years old. But JP never stopped rooting hard for his home team. The guy got to play during the team's opening scrimmage and drew a huge ovation from fans at the packed arena.
He had a good time stretching and getting ready for the game, too.
It's cute, really cute. Hey, we got some clouds out there tonight. Hopefully they will part. We're looking at, it was really cool just a minute ago, but clouds obscuring the moon, but hopefully by morning they will part. Temperatures will be down in the 30s. Lunar eclipse tomorrow from 5:25 to 6:25 a.m. It'll be pretty close to the horizon. Should be looking kind of red, so they're calling it a blood moon tomorrow.
Okay.
Bison will have a battle on Saturday.
Yes, and it's a good thing they got Mike Hardy back because Southern Illinois is a very good team, a top 12 team in the country, led, of course, by Dale Lennon. We'll get more into the matchup as the week progresses.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Mike and Molly's on the way.
And then join us again tomorrow at 6 and 9 o'clock. Have a good night, everyone.